Hey everyone again, this is Adeyemi from Distinguished Diva. You're welcome. If this is your first time, we do book reviews once a month, and this month I will have a bonus review. So I'm gonna review 2 books. So this video and the next one that I'll upload right immediately after, so in the following week. I have read these books for the month of March, and this is The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, When They Call You a Terrorist by Patrice Khan-Kuller. It's a Black Lives Matter memoir. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Hot Pop Hibiscus and Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by It's a collection of short stories by Kathleen Collins. I did a poll on Twitter and Facebook so you guys can help me choose which one of these books to review, and I realized that different people want different things and you can't give people everything they want. So this month I'm gonna review this too, Pop Hibiscus and Children of Blood and Bone. It's just like, I will review this in this video and I'll review this on a later video next week. So if you want to see what happened with Pop Hibiscus, just come back next week. So let's get into it. Children of Blood and Bone by the incredible Tomi Adeyemi. She's 24-year-old Nigerian American. Whoop for my people, yeah. So she's Yoruba, and I said on Facebook actually when I finished reading this book, which by the way, let me just give you an intro, that I finished this book in less than 24 hours. And let me just tell you how many pages it is. Okay, it's a fiction book, so it's quite easy to read through it fast. It's 531 pages, and it's really like the fonts are super small. So it's not really something that I should be able to finish that quickly, but I did because it's so exciting. So I kept some notes, so let's get into the notes, and I'm gonna just go into the characters and stuff like that and do the review properly, okay? Give me a minute, let's see. So, back. So this book, a synopsis, the book is about a girl named Zeli who is trying to bring magic back to the country of Orisha. So I'm not gonna say like, so I will say Orisha in Yoruba is actually God, means literally God or deity, but it's the name of the country, the fictional country in this book. The book is mixed with a lot of mythology, Yoruba mythology, and of course the Black Lives Matter movement. So it is a fictional book inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, as Tomi Adeyemi said herself. Like, she have a bunch of acknowledgement letter where she was talking about how this book was inspired by the life of so many that were taken by the police. So I am going to say that this doesn't mean that the book is written for Black people only, and the book is actually a series, so it's gonna be like, I think it's a trilogy. I'm not definitely sure. I think it's a trilogy, but a lot of people are saying it's the new Harry Potter. I won't call it the new Harry Potter. I will say it's the new Children of Blood and Bone, and it's literally a great book. So let's just get into the character. The characters are the book are written in is Zeli, who is the protagonist, Inan, who is the antagonist. Yeah, he is a villain, I guess. He is the antagonist, and King Shairan, who is the king of the country that literally slayed all the magic people who had the power to have magic and to perform magic. So there, he slayed the country. Remember the birth of Jesus, how the king is killing all the children? So this is the other way around. The king killed all the people who had power, who had magical powers, and also stopped the source connection of the next generation, which is basically Zeli's generation, to perform magic. So all these children have a distinctive thing to them that you see them, they are the diviners. So they have like vibrant white hair, and that shows that when they are 13 they could be the power will manifest, whatever that is. So there are different clans. There are 10 clans, so just like the Orisha. So if you know about the Yoruba, I won't say Nigeria because it's not really entire Nigeria, but the entire Yoruba gods, deity, how it goes, the mythology, like you see Oya, Oshun, you see Ori, you see so many. I don't want to say like all the names. So it's just basically the Yoruba version of the Greek mythology of Zeus and all that collector. And one of the things that I like about the book as a Yoruba woman myself is that it uses names of cities that I have lived, that I have been to. So it kind of make it is fictional, but it's also relatable to me at least. And the themes that I saw in the books, and I think that a lot of black people or even non-black people who are conscious about what's going on in society will see, is the racism that's like very structural violence that the people have to live on the daily, getting to pay taxes even though they're not allowed to do works like the other people. They are seen as slaves. They're using them for works that they're not being paid for, and a specific demographic in Orisha are basically fending for themselves and living in slum and running away for their lives. Racism, yes. Abuse. So basically Zayli is the protagonist, but we also have Amari, who is a princess in distress. Not really in distress. She is a princess who is also very rebellious and ran away from her father and mother and brother with the scroll that could bring magic back, and her father literally just ordered her brother to kill her and bring back the scroll. So this is a very intense family dynamic that we get to see about colorism, in this instance that her mother never liked her because she's the dark one, and she's like asking people to give her beauty regimes so that she's lighter. And we can see also the theme of colorism came in with Yemi and Zayli when they were training with Mamagba on how to use their staff to protect themselves. And Yemi, of course, is the light skin because her father is a noble. And how you differentiate the nobles and the commoners, I guess the working class, are people who are more dark. So Zayli is very dark skinned with vibrant white hair and just very intense eyes, and I think she is the picture on the cover. So this is the visual representation of who Zayli is. Very dark, very West African, I guess, in the sense the visual representation that you get from the book. And also we see the theme of sexism. There is a lot of sexism in terms of the prince being the captain, the prince being given more authority by his father, being given more attention, more love, even though he didn't really get love. Like his father and him and the princess and their mother is a very abusive relationship. Nonetheless, you also see where he always wanted to please his father. He always wanted to belong, and it just made me realize how the relationship of a lot of time people still love their abusers and still want to please their abusers. The theme of colorism I mentioned, sexism, yes, abuse. And one of the characters, I'm going to talk now about the character development. I think I'll talk about Amari, is a princess where we see her from being helpless, being raised in such a propaganda where her father had told her that the Magi people and one of her best friend who was killed in front, not in front of her, maybe in front of her, she was able to see her father kill her best friend, who is a diviner and also had power to perform magic, when she touched the scroll that Amari later on stole. So her best friend touched the scroll and her magic just manifested, and you see like her hands have all this. So she was there to see her father killed her best friend, and I think that's one of the reasons why she was also very easily steal from her father and run away from home, like a princess running away and her brother nearly killing her before she found who in the end helped her, Zayli. And basically she was sent, apparently by what Mamagba said, by the gods to help Zayli bring back magic to Orisha. So Zayli is the protagonist, of course, the dark-skinned, very magical, who saw the king slaying her entire people on one night where there was a raid. She was 6 years old, saw all of this happen. I told you guys already, spoiler alert, right? So she was 6 years old, her parent, her mother, her dad was still alive, so she had to fend for herself, and she always had to protect herself because she was the only one in the family who had now power to perform magic, because her brother couldn't perform magic, and he was just like a regular protective brother, a brother who wants to make sure that his sister is okay and all right. We also see the colorism when I come to now talking about her brother, Zaylee's brother Jane. He is incredible brother. He is protective. He is always with his sister. He's always like, he promised to keep her safe. He promised to, there's this, you know, the paternalistic idea of I have to protect my only sibling. And what we see with him is when Amari came into the picture, he literally, I mean, this happened a lot in society where we expect young, dark-skinned black girls to just be women and fend for themselves. Even though he was protective of his sister, he will let Amari get away with a lot of things because she's lighter. Because, of course, not because she's lighter in the book, but as a black woman, what I get is, as a light-skinned black girl, he protected her more than he did his sister. Like, he feels like his sister had enough power to get through stuff. And I feel like that's what we get as a lot of dark-skinned girls. We are supposed to be strong. We're supposed to know what to do. And Amari was just, you know, sheltered, I guess, by Zane. Zane is a brother. I feel like I would love to see his character given also like a voice. Like, he was incredible. He did a lot of things. He contributed to the fight and to the mission they have. But he wasn't like, we get to see the book from the view of Inan, who is the prince, and Amari, the princess, and then Zaylee, but we don't really get to see and hear him speak of the entire issue going on. So yeah, I think if the next books, I can't wait for the next books. I want to hope that we get to see something from Zane's perspective also. Inan is a prince with internal conflict and internal battle, and basically he really always wants to please his father. He wants to be the best captain. He wants to do everything for his kingdom. So he's in a place where a lot of time he had to depersonalize things and feel like it's not about me, it's about my kingdom. But this also come from a place of propaganda, of like believing everything he has been told by his father is truth and is right. So for example, when he realizes that he also had magical power, because his magical power manifested, he was so conflicted. He needed to suppress his magic, even though his magic could be helpful for him and could help the kingdom. And I feel like there was a very interesting trope, and I say interesting because a lot of us come in conflict with a lot of people like this that have different beliefs that we do. But what happens when you fall in love with that person? And this is something we get to see with Zaylee and Inan, is that there was a very good chemistry between the two of them. And if you're naive, there was a point where Inan was trying to convince Zaylee to come back to Orisha with him, with the magical tools that they have, and they will build a new Orisha. And I was just like, how? Like, your father literally killed her people and her mother, and you think that's a good thing? Because, you know, when you're being told something consistently that this is right and you're doing the right thing for people, because one thing I like about the book is the villains might be villain, but they also have a very well developed character that you can see that from their perspective they actually really believe this is right. And it's really hard when you have learned something all your life that this is true and this is for a good reason, you know. So he was thinking like, my father is doing this because it's the good of the country and it's good for you and your people. So the Margie people who had power, like, how can you have so much power? Because supposedly people who have magic have so much power that they could destroy the kingdom than people who don't, because even though they're royals, they don't have magic power. Like, it's different to have weapons and different to literally be able to burn down the whole country with your mind. Amen. I get it. But what I realize is how it was so conflicting. Like, even though he feels like he literally promised Zaylee, like, we will be together, we'll build a new kingdom and blah, 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 blah. He also was easily able to betray her. He was easily able to not to always just want to please his father. Like, and I feel like I can see this and sympathize with him from a perspective of, I know a lot of people who see structural violence, who see how abusive the status quo is, but because the status quo benefits them and they have been told that the status quo is the right way, I guess, so they can't fight it, so they always try to please it and to uphold the status quo. Is that right? You'll be the judge of that. But that's where Inan's character is, and I don't want to spoil it for you on what happened to his character at the end, but I just feel like this is very, it is today. Like, it can be fictional, this can be, it is a mythological, you know, like a Harry Potter-ish book, but there is a lot of themes and a lot of topics that have been touched, and also how the life of these people can reflect our life. And Inan just allows me to empathize, not really forgive, but empathize on a lot of people who are in the dominant narrative but cannot understand what structural violence is and how structural violence affect the life of the majority, just because they're not being oppressed. Like, they don't understand it. And I get it because I know a lot of people that I have fall apart from, like, you know, like circles of friends that we have fallen off because they can't get structural violence, because they think that if something doesn't really affect them, then it's not their call to call it out. And I feel like that's one of the things Inan did, is like, he sees violence, he sees anger, he sees people, he was there, like he was even part of it, all of this, like, you know how he know what it feels like by seeing other people, because he could feel them, he could imagine, like, his magical power literally is to be able to hear other people's thoughts and minds. And I feel like if I had that kind of magical power, I mean, as an empath, you can feel people's feelings. Imagine now being able to hear what they feel and think. And I mean, that's just like ridiculously a top-notch magical power to have, to be able to be empathetic, but he wasn't, and he still betrayed his family and his sister. And I feel like my favorite character is Amari. Zaylee is a badass, and I don't necessarily appreciate when black women, especially dark-skinned black women, are written to be like, I love that we're writing ourselves to be heroes, but I just feel like Zaylee wasn't allowed to be a child at all, and Zaylee never was allowed to actually enjoy anything. Like, the one thing she was enjoying was the infatuation kind of love-ish, lost-ish teenage love she had for Inan, and that was really taken away in a very brutal way. So I can't really, and also her character developed, but you know, maybe in the next book I'm gonna love her. Like, I love her because she's incredible, but I don't love the development of her character. But the development of Amari's character, on the other hand, a fragile, light-skinned, not really totally light-skinned, but noble princess that had been raised in a very abusive, very harsh reality, and being told that these people are the way they are because they are trying to destroy us and they have to suffer, but able to learn herself, like the idea, the ability for her to learn and open up her beautiful eyes and see that this is violence, and now end up being the badass of the story, in my perspective, just make me really love her character. And of course there is a character that got killed senselessly. I feel like the killing was senseless, but the writer made it a very intentional choice for us to see how many healers, how many black women who are bringing peace, who work for who are activists, who work to save people or to heal people, are being killed senselessly. Is Zuleika. She is my favorite, but we don't get to see her a lot, and she just get killed literally. She reminds me of the picture of this black woman in a march in Baton Rouge, where she was wearing her beautiful gown and very harmless, to have nothing, just a dress, and in front of the police, and how they had guns. And you know, when you're like literally harmless, innocent, you're just unharmed, and you're there, and the police are like literally seeing you as something to fight. And that's what I saw with Laika. Is like, she is a healer, so her magical power is to heal wounds and to heal people and to heal the nation, like Orisha. And I feel like her power just died and was killed senselessly, even though she could be a powerful weapon for Orisha. So that's it. Grab the book. It is really incredible book. I suggest it. If you're a fan of Harry Potter, like this kind of universe, you will love it. But also if you're into like just great writing, and the plot is so tight and so good and so intentional in all of it, Tomi Adeyemi was a great writer. And of course, big up, bam your chest, Tomi Adeyemi, for being a great Yoruba woman who wrote a book on incredible Yoruba mythology. And I just like, you know what, I personally am very skeptical about our Yoruba deities and gods becoming a fad and becoming a trend, but I'm very happy when it's written from a perspective of someone who knows deeply about this, and it's not just a trend of let me wear yellow for Oshun, but actually knows about the culture and bring them to life. I just love how she was just sensibly and impactfully written about them, and it's just amazing that we don't get to see them and we just have to celebrate them. So that's it for this episode, for this review. I feel like it's been long. I hope you enjoy it and have a good one, and pick up the book and let me know who your favorite character is if you've read the book, and if you haven't, pick it up. And it's published by Macmillan. Actually, I bought my piece. It's not sent to me, so all opinions are mine. It was out in the UK on the 6th of March, and you can grab it at any bookstore. No Amazon, because you know Amazon really just you know I don't need to say everything. Structural violence. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.